As I mentioned previously in this chapter, disrespect typically starts with a slight shrug, a long sigh, or a seemingly innocent backhanded compliment delivered in the public's checkout line. And most men don't speak up in the moment, but their silence is not neutral and it's not without consequence. My name is Todd. I'm a psychologist who supports men in their relationships. Thanks for being here. This series is coming straight from my book, Rules of Engagement, which is 14 chapters long. Each of those chapters will be its own individual playlist, and I am dropping each individual part from chapters into individual videos just like this. So make sure you check out my playlists and subscribe with the notification so you can know every time I drop a part of this book. All right, so according to researchers Friedman and Fraser back in the 1960s, people are more likely to comply with a larger request once they've accepted a smaller one. And it's a dynamic that maybe you've heard before from your college courses. It's known as the foot in the door technique. That means if you comply with her behaviors by accepting small infringements on your boundaries or values, then she's more likely to respond with a bigger one. In dating and relationships, what starts as tolerating small slights becomes a pattern of growing acquiescence, and you end up trained like a Labrador who gets a treat every time he rolls over and shuts the hell up. The moment you ignore minor disrespect, you teach her that your standards are flexible. And once she learns that, she will push further. Similarly, a researcher by the name of Cialdini, about 25 years ago, introduced the principle of commitment and consistency, which suggests that people tend to act in ways that align with their previous behavior. So that means if she breaks a boundary once and nothing happens, her brain registers that her action is acceptable because you've taught her that it's okay to do so. And the disrespect continues to grow. It's like having a no shoes rule in your house, and the first time she tromps in wearing muddy boots, you just smile and hand her a mimosa. The next thing you know, she's roller skating through your kitchen, tracking in dog shit and asking why the carpet smells funny. The answer is that you did not enforce the rule, so now there is no rule. In relationships, growing disrespect isn't just learned behavior, it's a trap that can often be difficult to identify, especially early on. The danger is that every unchallenged boundary, even a small one, becomes a new reference point. And what was once a limit now becomes the new baseline. The more you tolerate, the less she respects you. And the less she respects you, the more likely she is to test you again in search of new boundaries and behavioral horizons. Much research on social compliance confirms that when even minor violations are left unchecked, they're cognitively interpreted as permission, and they grow bigger and occur more frequently. That's how disrespect becomes a social and relational compliance. You start to fade out in your own oblivion because you stop showing up with confidence and clarity. You trained her to treat you this way through what you did not say. Friedman and Fraser's findings on compliance in the foot in the door technique emphasize how powerfully early dismissals of disrespect can be, in that once you've agreed to let something inside, it becomes harder to close that door. And Cialdini's work also confirms that people resist contradiction in what they've once complied in their previous behaviors. They continue to comply to avoid being seen as inconsistent. So that means each time you ignore disrespect, you're fertilizing that disrespect and making it harder for yourself to reverse course later on. The result is a slow attrition of your authority, your influence, and eventually your own self-respect. And by the time you try to reclaim it, the damage has already been done because the disrespect is too mature to eliminate. Remember that disrespect does not always stay where it starts. In fact, it almost rarely does. It moves, it grows, it gains momentum, when you refuse to meet it with structure. And you can't stop it with words alone, but rather with full masculine edge and boundaries that have consequences. High-value men don't wait until things spiral before acting. They make course corrections the moment something is off, because they understand that according to social compliance, power is lost gradually, one small violation at a time. No, you do not lose her respect when the relationship ends. You lose it every seemingly innocent moment that the disrespect grew and you trained her that your boundaries didn't matter. So if this has been an issue for you, or you've been thinking about it, here's something that you might want to say. I've noticed small things and I let it slide, turning into bigger issues, and it ends now. If we're going to continue this relationship together, we do it with mutual respect and clear expectations, because I will not let this escalate any further. If it's time to end the relationship over something like this, a statement you can say is, I've overlooked things, small things, far too many times, hoping that you would recognize my line, and I take responsibility for that. However, I'm no longer willing to be in a relationship in which I am not respected.